Good morning. It's Mike Duffy here, and I'm here with Julianne, and this is week 57 of Visibility University. Ask us anything. So we will just.
Opioid addiction gets between
There we go.
and love. Once monthly Sublocade.
So as we obviously things just started kicking in as we went live. As you come in, let us know where you're coming from or where you're watching from, and throw some questions in the chat.
Yeah, let's get the chat going here, and we will talk. What was the topic this week that we had decided on? Why people don't recognize your channel? Simply because you're not active on your channel. You're not uploading.
They don't recognize you. Well, actually, like when we get into it, there is some really interesting points about what we've been talking about and the validity of having long form and using that long form to create your short form. So there's a consistency across your platform. So there's a lot of validity to that, and it's a consistency of your branding and that you show up so people know what to expect. So that's really when people go to your channel, can they recognize that that short and that long is from the same channel?
And whether or not you're actually, you know what? I do so many YouTube audits, and I find the consistent theme I find is that YouTube's like an island. You know, the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, whatever social media presence you have seems to be consistent across channels, and then YouTube's just this island over on the other side, which is been started and stopped, or was consistent for years and then stopped, or even if it is active, it's completely different content. And it just seems weird when you know that your your potential customers, people who find out about you, when they are searching the internet and they kind of see this split personality. It's like, well, your website's kind of like blah because it's just, might have offers, might be e-commerce, blah blah blah, and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter or whatever look one certain way, and then YouTube's just kind of not the same messaging, or I find it all the time. And then when I ask questions, they're like, "Oh, the VAs do it all. I just give them guidelines, and they just do it all." And I was like, "Okay, this totally makes sense." There's a huge disconnect in the planning and the production when you have no guidance on it, when you don't have a expert leading you through the production of your social media content.
Well, and when you've got VAs doing them, right? So virtual assistants, and if it's not all the same one and they don't know what guidelines are supposed to do and what the expectations are, and you've got different ones doing different social medias, so it's also not really consistent across the platforms, it's going to get a little more confusing. And I guess in fairness, at least you're showing up on different social medias. That is
True.
wonderful because you want to show up everywhere. It's just even for ourselves, like I'm gonna admit straight up, I'm a flawed human, and sometimes I'm not necessarily consistent. And I can definitely see that in my own, like as I've worked through my own channel and getting it so it's more and more streamlined and more consistent. And as everybody's jumping in, hello, we have somebody watching from Australia. Hello, user.
Oh, Australia.
Hello, welcome. We have what are you? What are you? What are you? I don't know really. What about you, Mike? What are you? We're here to help
I,
you.
I, I'm 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 the content coach you didn't know you need, because I'm your biggest fan, and I want to make sure that you have subscribers and watch time on your YouTube. And if you're going through the actions of making content, I want your audience to see it. That's who I am. That's what I am, right? Because I have this conversation every single day with some business owner, some brand, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, well, I got to." The VAs are cheap. The VA is like $300, $400, $500 a month, and they do everything. And I'm like, "Well, I know they're making going into Canva and making template posts. I know I can see it. I can visually see that they're doing this stuff over here. But what are they doing over there? Oh, we don't know what we're doing. It was like, okay, that's what I thought. I did the audits. I assumed you didn't know what you were doing, but you're just pushing content out there for the sake of pushing content out there. So your known audience knows who you are and remembers who you are. But come on, we need to activate that hidden audience or that audience that forgot about you, because video just lasts longer and it's so much easier to get engagement, I think, from video, because people get to know, like, and trust you over video rather than was that post just made by a VA or by AI? Was there actual any TLC from the content creator, from the business owner, from the service provider themselves that went along with making that content?
And I think that's important now because we are looking for that connection. And how else are you going to connect to people that you're not physically near? So, a couple of comments. I'm a flawed human. It must suck. It does suck, I'm going to say. It'd be great to be an unflawed human. So, thank you so much. ISIC Tra USA. Thank you for the comment. And the other comment to acknowledge is where we're from. Well, we are actually traveling nomads. Right now, we are in like outskirts of Dallas, Texas. We're out in Cedar Hill. Is that the park?
You don't have to
It's
give
a
our location away. Don't have to give our location.
good luck finding us. Good luck
Doesn't
finding.
matter. Doesn't matter. We're anyway.
We're somewhere in that Texas area and enjoying the weather out here. We travel around, so we are from North America and traveling into Texas. So that is where we are from. If you want to know where we're born, we were born in Canada. That is.
And we're looking for valid questions for YouTube channel. You're watching this on YouTube. You're commenting on YouTube. How's your YouTube channel
Well,
going?
here's a great question. What's your opinion of AI? Now, I know we talk a lot about AI in the different shows that we do. And if you're talking about it in the form of making content, because the show is about making content, why don't you talk about that, Mike? What is your opinion of using AI when you make content?
Well, it's a tool, right? So you're the human, you're the creator. You're the creator of your creative content. AI is a tool. So if you look at how it's being used right now, it's heavily used for thumbnails. It's heavily used for titles and descriptions. And you're the judge if somebody's using AI for scripting, right? In the world of YouTube is clamping down on AI content, because I've had many students receive flags on their accounts for using AI generated videos or AI so that I don't know if I have a really good judgment of AI because I use it. I also will rewrite all the words just because I needed if I'm writing a script, I needed just like a base starting point, some idea generation, and then I can start talking about those ideas that AI came up for me. I'm not going to fully rely on the script, but it's a tool. It's like using a computer. It's like using it's like making a phone.
Well, what I have a few, like, I agree. I definitely like it as a tool. But when I got on my channel, when I started doing my channel, and my experience was I got in trouble with YouTube through my process. So I have a history with my own channel. I've had a little bit of issues, etc. And at one point I had to validate the process of how I was making videos to prove that I was human. So I was showing it at that point how I was using Canva, how I was doing the different things on my show. So I had to prove I was human and using human skills, I guess. Not everything was AI. And that was a few years ago, not maybe like 3-4 years ago, right? Now we go into a time where there is a lot of content where there is really not a lot of human skill being used in it. And that is the question of where that becomes into like the fine area of AI slop. And there was a creator that I listened to on an interview that talked about essentially the entire process that they're doing is AI. And for myself, I'm going, this is a problem because she didn't even know or they didn't even know that there was a problem with what the AI clone was saying in the videos until people made comments. That's, in my opinion, especially if you're using AI the entire way, you need to know what that AI created, right? So you have an AI clone that's doing the speaking, you've got the AI generated script, and then the AI actual voice, right? And if you're not even going in and editing, making sure you know what the script is saying, making sure it's saying it properly, watching the video, what did you add to it, right? So then that is when we're starting to go, well, then there is no point for human, right? And if you're promoting people to make AI content like that and they're looking for trends, this is also my concern. We're literally going to have thousands and thousands of videos on the same content because the AI is going to look for the trend, which will feed to the other AIs, and they're all going to pull out the same content, and you're all going to be talking about the same content with your AI clone, with the AI voice, with the AI what it thought was important. And often when I'm planning shows and I'm asking for ideas, because I'm doing my own research, I'm finding things, but sometimes I'll ask, what the AI thinks about something, or if it can come up with an idea, and then I go into a research. Often I'm like, these aren't even good. They're not even really, like when I'm asking for suggestions, I have better suggestions than the AI often comes up with, right? So it is a tool, and it's a tool we need to be aware of is super useful, but we can't give it too much power. That would be my purpose. And my point is it should not run your channel. Like, you really, as a
Well,
creator,
you,
as a business owner, have know what's going on in the content that you're creating.
well, you brought it up. You literally brought it up that if your YouTube channel gets flagged because you're adding content to it, you're growing it, and when you get to that, if and when you get to the monetization level, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, YouTube is going to ask you, they at any time, what your production looks like. They are going to flag your channel, possibly take it down, and they're gonna give you like a 30-day window to prove. You need to like record a video of how you made your content.
Yep.
Can you actually make a video displaying your production cycle?
Well, I
Right?
guess
They don't want a video coming from your VA. They don't want
yeah.
to. They don't want to. They're not going to want to see a video of you scripting and pulling in of your AI bots. Like, they're not going to. You're not going to get out of that red flag limbo.
Yeah.
So, and they may not have been so aggressive in the past, but really the 2025, 2026, we saw this huge boom of AI content, which is literally just videos with static images every three to 5 seconds. There's a lot of AI video generation systems out there making just like slideshow videos. Those are all going to be removed eventually from YouTube. So we've seen it. We've used those tools in the past.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, you can use whatever tools you want to build your channel. And this is why we built YouTube University every Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, was for creators to come in and say, give me some idea. Here's the problems I have. I need some new ideas. We give them guidance on how to build it from scratch, keep going if they got stuck, whatever. And the AI question comes up a lot, and we're like, yeah, you could use it, but if YouTube flags you for using it, are you still going to be able to proceed with your channel and come up with ideas that are not being generated from AI?
Well, exactly. In case you have that, right? So it is like AI is a good tool. However, you want to be as creative and adding your human creativity into it as much as possible, because at some point, it doesn't come off authentic. And I do believe, okay, yes, lots of humans will watch the stuff and everything, but at some point, I think there's going to be a huge backlash, because there already is with a lot of that AI stuff, because people don't want to. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't even realize that they are following things that are AI because they do look super realistic, right? So it's an interesting thing, and we'll
True.
see
True.
how it rolls out. But my last point on that AI, because we do a lot of shows about it, is learn about it. Learn about it. One of the things the US government, and I'll talk about it again because I do think everybody should do it, they have a Make America AI Ready. Okay, so they have a whole thing on that. And each day they'll text you and teach you something about AI. And it's very eye opening. On what they're teaching and then what you see going on with AI, right? So that would be my recommendation. But we had some questions. We got a few things like, which field are you from? Well, our background, we are both background in computer science. We have technology degrees. Mike, why don't you explain a little bit about where you've come from?
For the last 20 some years, I've been providing technology support to business owners, like generally 100 employees, one to 100 employees, a lot of service businesses, plumbing, construction, mechanical services, like just owner operators who needed to make sure that their computers worked well. And then that's what I've been doing for the last 20 realtors, like business. I'm wearing my hat right now that one of my YouTube students made for me. It says don'tgethacked.app. So our business is called don'tgethacked.com.ca. We provide 24/7 cybersecurity, pretty much like a chief technology officer in a fractional or part-time consulting for business owners. So that's where my field has come from, and everyone is getting started with YouTube. So this is perfect addition to the service offering, is we're going to provide you the production help to get your content out there while also making sure your computers are backed up, your website works, your email system works, and make sure everything in your business is well documented and backed up. So
and they work together, because the more content you make, the more data you're using, the more you're producing. The system, you'll unfortunately often have more issues with your system. So they kind of work.
Everyone outgrows their system and their storage capacity, and this is why we love YouTube so much. Is we can just stream all our show content to YouTube and then make clips from it, and then those clips can then go to all your social media platforms.
Exactly. And then we also talk about other ways to make sure that you've got backups of your content in case something happens with one of the platforms. Because the idea with the Visibility University is being seen on as many social medias as you can possibly get on, so you show up. So you're essentially everywhere talking about your message, your product, whatever you want to share with the world. And that if you do have any issues in the future and you have a problem with one social media, you don't disappear. And so it's a little bit of like doing an insurance policy for your own content too, right? So we talk about that, as well as the ability of attracting the viewers and the people that will appreciate whatever your message, product, service is. Because if you're everywhere, that's how you're going to find the people that will value what you're talking about. So we have oh my gosh, it's embarrassing the amount of years we have of this. If we talk about it, Mike has now going 30 years of experience in technology and all of these departments. That's where we're really coming from. And we have university degrees and have worked self-employed for pretty much our entire adult lives.
I like to frame it as just like demystifying technology, because there's so I've spent every day watching YouTube videos and years watching YouTube videos just to see what advice is out there, what good advice is out there, and what terrible advice is out there. And then because I know I know exactly where my customers are. They're watching content, say, hey, can I figure this out myself? Could I do a DIY application of this particular skill set or this particular technology implementation? And if not, who can I trust to come in and actually make sure it's implemented? Like yesterday, for a year, let's just put this out there. For a year, I've got a client dealing with a terrible website hosting company. Just terrible, right? And generally when a business is looking for a website, what are they doing? Well, they're just doing, they're on the internet searching for a business who would specialize in a website for their particular business. And they found somebody, and they, without consulting me, because they weren't on a monthly contract at that point, I forced them into a monthly contract after going through such a terrible website setup. And now it's a year later, and they're like, "Hey, this all needs to be changed." And I'm like, "There's no problem. We can change it, but you need to agree to go on to a monthly maintenance contract with this website, because now that you've seen the terrible support out there for WordPress websites, since you've seen it, since you've experienced it, now we're going to go move to a new system where it's going to be done right. You're going to get at, if you have questions or changes, or you want to add something." Realistically, what's happened is they want to add a new system, a new marketing system. Well, they can't even access their DNS records.
Exactly.
And the reason is because I don't know what this other company is. Anyway, it's all being brought back, and it's going to be great because we've got a team. We got multiple contractors. We got a great team that's responsive and that will take care of you properly. Right? But this is what happens is people are looking for a service and they go out on the internet. Are they finding you? Right?
Exactly.
Because most of the best service providers out there don't even have a YouTube channel. They don't have YouTube content. And
They often don't even have a website. I unfortunately think the saddest thing is when you find a business that only has a Facebook site, because you have literally put yourself in this gated little community of where if you ever have a problem with Facebook, you can't even access that. People can't really find things. I personally will not use businesses that only have a Facebook website. It makes me angry because the reality is you can put up a free website to literally have a landing page for every business. There is no excuse that you have gated yourself into one social media and then you have no content anywhere else. Like, the reality is so easy to do this that you are limiting your business reach, your reach overall, by not being seen and not having these things in place, which, yes, you have to put a little bit of time at the beginning, but then once they're set up, it's easy to maintain. So we talk about getting visible because we really saw what happened about not being visible online during 2020. We saw that we were always working with small businesses, and all those small businesses that were reliant on local businesses have literally gone out of business.
They've
So
all disappeared.
they disappeared. So we really we want to help small businesses and medium businesses and people. Well, they've got to stay in business if we want to help people. So it became out of the necessity of losing clients that we're like, we need to help people stay in business. And that's where this came from. And I want to kind of jump back because we had a question about the AI. Do you think it's saturated? I do believe the AI content is fully saturated. I do. And I can definitely see where people, because you're starting to see images that look a lot alike. So you can tell that people are using similar AIs, right? And then you can see that there's trends. And I'm like, did AI take that from something I said and then give it to other people? So now everyone else is talking about it. So you're starting to see that it feels like it's almost a closed loop. And so you have to be adding something to it or perceiving what it's giving you and asking questions. So AI, I feel like it is becoming saturated, and it's only going to become more saturated if humans aren't adding their own opinions, their perspectives, and questioning the stuff that's coming out of AI. If that makes sense. Does that make sense, Mike, what I'm kind of going on?
Yeah, no, it's well, I wasn't sure if the saturation question was about AI or not, so that's a good answer.
Well, I think it was.
Okay. There was no further context on that question. It's, I don't know. There's a lot of AI out there, and there's a lot of, what's popular right now, people making clones of themselves, right? And calling it authentic. There's no way your video clone of yourself is authentic. If people know it's a video clone and you stayed out, put a disclaimer at the front of the video that you're using that it is an AI clone. I think, if we're just going to talk about AI clones, I'm like, an AI clone. I know the reason the AI clones are promoted. They're like, hey, my AI clone has 1,000 times better conversion rate than me on camera. And I'm like, well, that's fine. Leave that on your video sales letter on your website, or like whatever. Like there may be particular, there may be particular use cases for those AI clones, but I believe, I don't really think it's authentic to put that stuff on your YouTube channel.
Well, I don't either, and I unfortunately think when I know when I'm watching a video and the presenter is too perfect that it's probably AI. And that's the thing. It's like, oh, this one looks so proper and it's perfect lighting and perfect tone and perfect everything. It's AI. And so really the only thing we've got going for us is really real authenticity by being human and
Well,
maybe
Julie, they're using the perfect images as clickbait to say, hey, to sell that particular service. That's like, hey, I got 1,000 customers because of this, perfect AI clone I did on my, sales funnel. I'm going to teach you how to do it. But I'm like, it may not necessarily be that. I'm like, it's like that that perfect AI clone of you may have got people to watch the ad that got them to the offer, but it's still the way the offer is written that actually got people to buy from you. It's just like the clickbait. The AI clone video, I know, because I know it, like, I know the person who's been selling AI clones, and then of course all the people in his group have been doing the same thing. So it's like, okay, I see it. You guys are promoting it heavily, but you already have all the experience with making your offers, doing conversion. Like you've already perfected the whole sales side of your business. You're just using the AI clone as like the clickbait video to get people to watch your stuff and go to your website.
well, I have to put out there that makes me wonder how authentic it is when you've mastered a sales technique, and then I have to put it out there. We are so easily manipulated by sales. Humans are like sometimes when I start talking about sales and I start going down it, I go, are we that ridiculously lost that we are so about just shiny clicky and that we just fall for these click scams. And then it's interesting when I have such a hard time because I don't want to sell that way, but that's the only way to sell. And I'm like, I sit here feeling like I don't want to be scammy. I don't want to trick you. I want to present an authentic offer that has value, but that doesn't sell the masses. The masses want fake. That is kind of the problem with the saturation, is that they also want to fake before. AI has just now made it easier for people to make things look shiny and like it's shining up the turd. And that's what AI can do now, and easier than we could before. You had to use more manual labor to shine up that turd before. Now you don't even have to. And so that's kind of the problem, is I feel like we
I like
have
I
to
like that. I like the comment on the screen right now. That's great because it's 100% true. Remember,
exactly.
kids, everything you see online is just a reenactment of something that has already happened before. That's the same with business coaches or sales techniques or whatever. It's like I perfected something that I've been watching for 5 or 10 years. So where did I learn it from? Well, I just learned it from somebody else who was doing it in a different manner. It's the same with any business coach or any person that you see online who looks like they've got a complete and full life and they're making massive amounts of money. Or where did they learn where did Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and John Maxwell, where did all these people learn their stuff? Well, they
Yeah.
learned it from the people who came from before them.
Exactly. Well, and experience, and then kind of mix it, right? So it's interesting because you bring up something that I thought about recently, not related, but kind of related, about how do we truly make new authentic things? Or do we all just repeat from each other? And that was also because of seeing like the trends with the AI stuff, right? Which really is going to funnel humanity and our ability to critical think too much if we don't put humans into the process of cognitively thinking about the information we're getting, right? But it is interesting because it does lead you down that hole of when do we actually have a unique idea, right? Like, when is it actually
Well,
something different?
and
Well,
if you have that idea, is there other people around the world with that same idea at the same time because they got your same birth chart as you? And that's
or just
astrology.
in the consciousness, right? This idea is there, and the people that are in that alignment are just going to all pick it out, and so simultaneously a bunch of people have this similar idea with a different flair, right? So it is interesting on how that works. And then I'm going to make another comments here that I want to die again because I know we talk about it. My daughter makes a lot of art, and I love real art, and she's using technology to help her make art as well. So she's doing a lot of digital art and stuff like that. However, I do like the AI's ability to easily make up screens. So, like, okay, this here, our image here, I could have probably done this in Canva. I totally could have, but it would have taken me a lot longer than me doing something up in AI. So I used AI to make that easier. Now, if I'm going to make a piece of artwork, or I'm going to put a piece of artwork on my wall, something like that, I want a value added content. I would rather go and support an artist and buy a sculpture that's made by hand or a beautiful piece of artwork that an artist has made. Now, for things like when we're doing shows, like we do content, that's what we're talking about, visibility all the time. I'm going to use AI and some of the AI artwork to just create things quickly, right? Verifying that the words are spelt right, making sure it looks good. Occasionally I'll miss a little thing because I am making a lot of slides, but I do my best. But again, I'm human and I error, so I might miss something the AI did, right? So I find the convenience of AI art, but not in a way that I believe that I would ever really purposely go out of my way to buy a piece of AI art to hang up on my wall. I don't know. What do you think about that? Because it does bring a lot of
You know what? You know what the funniest thing was? I was watching a video. I ended up following somebody, and he's completely against crypto, right? So I don't know. But the funny thing was, like, he was talking about NFTs, and he printed off an NFT, and he's like, "I just stole your $100,000 NFT," right? And it's like, oh, wait a minute, NFTs were kind of like, I'm not saying it was the start of AI art, but it's it's just interesting where I now see people coming out against crypto, like professionally coming out against AI or crypto or whatever, because they're like, hey, it's not human, it's like whatever, right? So it's like, oh, okay, we're at this interesting point in 2026 where everybody's got, like, there's a lot of different like viewpoints now about what is legit, what's not, and I'm like, everything really is just a tool.
Yeah.
And it's just whatever your opinion is going to be of it, right? We're creators, we're YouTubers, we're going to be creating art or video or social media posts based on how we're presenting our business. And then it's going to be up to, I had a meeting. It's like I had a meeting this week and somebody's like, hey, I love what you do, but I'm not going to hire you because you're charging so far less than what I would expect. And then of course I'm like, damn, most of my feedback is I'm crazy expensive, and I'm not. And I'm like, I am literally attracting the wrong audience. Okay, that's just what I figured out the meeting this week. So, but I'm out there enough that people see my content because I'm streaming 4 times a week.
Well, and it's fine tuning. Like, the reality is you are human and you are fine tuning your message, your story, and it's always changing, right? Because what you were selling 10 years ago is different than what you're selling now, and the tools now are different than 10 years ago. And we have been employed for pretty much entire adult life. Employed at 28, you were employed 24, self-employed. So we have not worked for people for years. And so it's an interesting on how, we talk a lot.
I was going to say 10 years ago, my technology customers were still using floppies.
Exactly. Well, Lucretia has joined us, so I want to bring her in. How are you this morning, Lucretia? And tell us what you were saying in the private chat.
I'm doing okay. I got this little one eating yogurt here, so he's very vocal because he loves his food.
Mine's eating Fruit Loops with marshmallows because we found those in America.
Oh, that's fun. I like that. No, it irritates me when people are like, I'm not gonna hire you because you charge so much less. Well, then, like, make me an offer. Like, you know that I'm good. Like, you're following me, you're asking the questions, you're getting all this free advice. Like, just clear, because you're saying you're gonna go pay somebody more.
Lucretia, literally, he called his YouTube guy during the call, and I'm like, oh my god, are you guys just laughing at me?
Okay, well, I'm going to break it down that the comparison that came up is, you know, you're told you're a restaurant and you're told your plate is worth $500 and you should be charging $500 for that plate of food, but the restaurant is empty. So you're like, well, yeah, I'll start charging $500. Where's all the clients to come in and pay that $500, right?
There's that. And then, like, they say that they're going to pay a price, but, like, if you're still looking for this service and I'm offering it to you for less, are you just saying that as an excuse to not?
Well,
like,
I think I think it may have come from a point of, I don't want to say embarrassment, but I was asking questions about the YouTube channel and there wasn't really answers. And then I think it may have been that uncomfortable situation where I was asking questions where there was no answers for. It's like, well, I'm not going to hire you because the price is too low.
Yeah, like just an excuse.
Right. So I was like, this is fine. There's open dialogue. It's not a no. There's open dialogue. So it's like, every conversation I have with a content creator is going to go. I understand it's going to go differently because the ones who tell me the reason they're doing it themselves is because they have no money. That's fair. They're honest. They told me they have no money. And the other people are going to say, hey, I don't hire anybody under 10K a month. And I'm like, fair enough. I've not really received that answer before. So it's good to have that type of answer in that type of situation because it could have been much, much more embarrassing. Right? They could have been witnesses. I'm telling everybody you can be my witness. But, there was no witnesses except, so I was like, whatever. I will just refine my offers and say, hey, we have this fully, it just gives me the ability to add something on the higher end and have that complete higher end package defined and not be cut off guard by not having it.
Well, it did bring us up to the conversation we had last night, which is like, okay, well, do we do this package? Because we've designed our packages because we still want to produce our own content. We can't guarantee to put our man hours to produce content for other people. We can help people. We can show up. We can show you how to use tools. We don't have the ability to create and do, like, if you want us to do your descriptions, if you want us to do all the work we're showing you, we don't have that manual power. So we're like, well, how do we, because we've now had this comment a couple times in ways that maybe weren't direct. And I'm like, well, obviously we need to offer an option where we go and find people to help them. So we do an option where we're going to hire the people that can then go and work directly. Because we've also had many people come and ask us for jobs and look for that. So we're like, well, can we use the two different ends, the people that need more holding hands, but we can't hold your hand. So we use other people that are looking to help hold people's hands, and we start kind of bringing that together. So we're actually looking at expanding our business that way so we can help multiple people, help those type of people that want us to literally do it for them, but we don't have that manual hours to do it all for them. And then for the people that are going, oh, do you have some business here? Well, we can help them start to have business. Well, on the positive note of that embarrassing situation is it did make us.
It's only embarrassing for me because I was the one there. So,
but it does.
Like,
it does.
You don't even have to say an absolute price right now. You could say starting at and then build it.
That was really it because the response was like, why don't you fly into somebody's, charge them the X amount per month, fly into their city once a month, bring in the videographer, bring in the editor, have the scripts ready. The business owner is going to sit down for 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever. You film everything and then it's up to me to distribute it. They don't want to do any of the distribution. They don't want to do any of the posting. They just want to see subscriber numbers, and they just want somebody to come and do it so they can go off, make their $1 million a month. But it's also me when I meet people, I don't really I do research on you, but I don't know what income bracket you're in per month or
and
per
and
year.
and I think it is a little bit what you're saying there is asking the right questions at the beginning to know if those are those type of clients or the ones, because we've really designed our packages
Well, that was the other thing.
all
Is like,
creators, right? Like our packages are designed for you to get the steps you need to get into the process of having this make a process. And if you do, and when you do build, you could always hire VA or hire outsource, but you've got a process that you can then give them to do what you're doing, right?
literally the prices that are there are based on everybody who's come and bought already and what they were comfortable with. So it was really just who's our audience right now, what they're comfortable with. Let's roll with that. When we have more complexity come in, higher end clients come in, we're going to have to, go up because there's more service offering there.
And we've already come now to reassess that we have to look at this other possibility of how we can connect things that have happened, resources and people we know to assist everybody so we can just that's our intention has been
I know some amazing videographers. They're in Toronto or they're in New York. So
I know one. He lives around here. He used to live in Toronto.
I was
but
just
he
like,
lives around
okay,
here now,
just
so,
got
like,
my
exactly.
ideas cranking more. I was like, okay, perfect. Now I know how to respond when I run into meetings where it's you just don't really realize how big certain brands are when you meet them, because you're like, hey, it's a solo operation. Well, it's not really a solo operation. It just looks like a solo operation from the social media posts.
Well, you don't really know until you start asking those questions, and that's the thing. And then when you learn, and this is us just discussing your situation happened this week, is it's part of doing business. It's part of being seen, part of being visible. You're going to have good conversations. You're going to have difficult conversations, and it's learning and adjusting. You might, not take it all, take it with a grain of salt.
How many times have you been told in your life you're crazy expensive? I get it all the time. And it's like, what are you talking about?
that happened this week. Like,
you
whoa.
know how many hours go into like a website or an email service or like moving you from one company? Like, I just spent 30 hours doing that, and you're griping about the price, and you knew what the hourly rate was ahead of time, and you saw how, and we had people on site, so you calculated how many days we were there. Like,
I still think people have a disbelief to how long it takes to fix things, especially technology things, because technology very rarely ever works together seamlessly. And because there's always upgrades, because things always change, there's always something. Like you said, you've had clients where they have spent hours and hours trying to fix something for their parents, right? Trying to finally give up, hire you to go in, and you find out that it was an update on a printer that they didn't download, right?
That was my service call in New Jersey, right? Because I've been, as I said, how long do you have to show up on video? How long do you have to post the same content for people to discover you and for you to land new customers? And it works. I get leads, and I get asked for service help all the time. And literally your Wi-Fi in your home office may not be working because you literally did not do all the software updates when you open that box from Costco or Amazon and had your grown adult children or your neighbor or whatever, or your IT guy plug it in and connect it to the internet. If you don't do all the updates for that equipment, I guarantee you that equipment ain't gonna work. And that's the service calls we go in and do. It's like, well, I had somebody professionally do this. I'm like, well, I know you paid somebody to professionally do this, but was this actually done properly? Because I'm going to be the guy calling you 30 days later, 60 days later to say, hey, we made those tweaks. Did they actually work? Yes or no? And if not, okay, I know what the next step is, but I want you as the customer to understand that there's possibly a lot of environmental variables to deal with, and I'm patient. I'm going to deal with them all with you, but I need you to understand that it's not just plug in, turn on, and it works.
Well, I want to point out one thing because it's slightly off topic, but it's related with
I think we're already off topic. So
well, we're off topic and on topic. It's all about this. It's all about growth and being visible. One of the things you're talking about is really your experience, right? So you've been self-employed. You have this huge amount of experience. So you get professionals. Everybody's got different years. We have, like I said, you've got 30 years of experience behind you, right? And what's interesting is just what's happening. And one of the stories we're going to talk about this week on Too Real is a story about somebody with too much experience that now the AI systems are not choosing people with real long-term experience. So it's like once you're in your 40s onwards, it's like you're now obsolete. It's like all these years of knowledge are no longer valid when you're looking for jobs. So it's very interesting because yet you're so valid because you get all these people that are coming in, these new kids that are new young adults that are smart and intelligent, but they don't have the 20, the 30, the 40 years behind them. Then they run into these basic issues and they don't know how to fix them because they didn't live in the day of just reboot or the dial-up internet or these experiences that have existed, right? So it's weird because we're in this weird transition where there's a lack of appreciation for people with real experience, but it's super important to have this background knowledge. And it's so I find it really weird because that's what AI is a little detrimental about and a little dangerous in. I can see
it just doesn't really have the experience. It doesn't have the experience, and even if you're giving it, that's a funny thing about AI. It's like, everybody's like prompting it. You were a copyright specialist, blah 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 blah. It's like, how is the AI even gonna know what a copyright specialist is and experiences? Yeah, it can go look online and search, but how much of that programming that it's gonna use to build your output, how much of that is all hallucinated? There's no actual real life experience. It's just based on whatever it's pulled off the internet or made up, or it's thinking its experience is applicable to that particular task that you're assigning to it.
Well, they've even and just even talking about the copyright makes me think of the people. There's the apps that are supposed to tell you, especially if they provide you, especially for students, if it's AI written, like their report or whatever, right? And now they're finding that it can't even prove if it's a human one because I guess some humans are just, some people are really good at writing pieces, and then they're being targeted that AI saying they're AI, right? So you're like, you can't even use the AI investigator.
Well, the AI investigator is really just looking for tags, right? So it would be different if it's a document. Okay, you would be able to ascertain if it was. You would be able to ascertain or decide whether or not it's AI based on the file that was uploaded, because I'm going to say I'm 100% sure that any actual, if you're just copying and pasting texts, well, that may be a little bit more challenging to decide if it's AI or not. You're going to be looking for writing style, punctuation, et cetera, et cetera. But if it's like if it's an actual file, like a PDF or a Word doc or something, there's going to be a watermark in the file. There's going to be metadata saying, hey, this was outputted by ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, Manus or whatever else, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, and, we know there's the basics it does, but it's still not, it's like what I said about doing that AI training and about how much humans still need to do the process, right? So one of the biggest things I've noticed with the AI is AI generates you information. You whoever it is that's asking the AI to do the research or collect it or put together this information, you need to validate it. That's your responsibility. It's not the AI's. And it's so often AI is not correct or just has a bias. And when you point it out, it'll be like, yeah, you're right. Right. So you have to actually do that. And when you're not doing that, that's when we're going to have a lot of misinformation that's going to go crazy, because it'll even just say things where I'm reading a script and I'm like, it changed this fact of this article in the script. So I at least had read the article, so I'm changing it because I had read the article. But if I didn't know that, maybe I'd be misinformation.
And what I'm going to say, and then this is the trouble with having AI write your YouTube scripts without you. We tell all of our students, AI is a great tool. it's a great tool. It can shortcut a lot of your writing time. However, you still need to read through it and validate the data, because I've had customers call me to say there's something wrong with my computer. And I'm like, okay, what's going on with your computer? Why did a factory reset? And I was like, why did you do a factory reset? Well, because ChatGPT told me to. And it's like, wait a minute, back up. What was the problem? Oh, it was slow. And it's like, so you just typed, like, my MacBook is slow into ChatGPT and it spit out that you needed to do a factory reset? Yeah, that's what it said. I'm like, do you have a screenshot of these instructions? Send me this. I was like, well, there's nothing you can do now. You just have to wait 7 hours for the factory reset to be finished. Well, what about my data? And I was like, well, I hope you have backups. So it was, if if people are making content, that's not the, it worked. That advice worked. The computer was factory reset. So it's not fake advice. It's just not the right advice for that type of situation.
Well, and that's the whole thing. So actually, I want to get back to the chat for a moment. So we've got Anki made the comment about writing a 3-page essay, got it an F because it said it was AI. Exactly, right? Like, that is unfortunately part of what is happening, is that, my question is, we can't necessarily rely on what AI is telling us, right? And if you follow our two real
I was going to
shows,
say that.
Mondays, we talk about a lot of stories that go into people being wrongfully arrested based on AI identification, and that there's no human that goes and verifies so one of them is facial recognition from camera, and there was no human that stopped and verified that the person they decided to go and arrest was in that area, that was exactly the same person, the picture. They didn't have. AI is making people lazy. And then that is when it becomes a massive problem, because when we're literally outsourcing our thoughts, that we're no longer using any of our ability to critically think and any of our ability to have common sense, which I know is not common, we are doomed, because we have to, everything from AI you should actually probably take it in as assuming it is wrong. Having AI prove it is telling you the truth. And then when it gives you the proof, you go and use another AI and your own mind, and then you go research it, right? Like, you kind of have to take everything it does with a grain of salt, that you don't know if it's getting the full picture, if it's understanding it, and what it's actually producing, right? So that it's just that overall warning. Now, we've had a few people asking about what we're specifically here talking about. So we are here promoting people to be visible. So we come every Saturday morning and we'll answer any questions that you have about being seen. And we talk about technology, AI, because that is all valid and is part of our experience and is actually part of creating content.
Yeah, and we really want you to get started with your content, your YouTube channel, and well, the technology we use is Restream, because you're able. Literally, you could take 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour of your day, and just stream from your computer to all your social medias, and just get in front of all your audience at the same time with your new services. What you fit, like documenting your life, because as an IT professional, as a YouTube coach, 7 days a week, I'm interacting with customers and offering them solutions to their problems, whether or not they buy or not. And where it's like, hey, you should, here's what we can do to move you forward. I was having a Facebook Messenger chat with, not a customer, but a potential customer. And I was like, Mike, I've made some shorts since we last talked. I'm like, okay, we talked in March. It's June. I'm like, will you show these shorts to me? Because I got you started with the idea of video creation. I want to see what you did, just so I can support you and get you to make some more shorts about your business. But I really want to see them, because I want to, I gave you a bunch of ideas. Let's see what you created from the ideas that I gave you.
Are you going to get some? Are you going to get to see this?
I don't know. I have to go back to that. I saw her this week in Texas. So it's one of these things, is you get introduced to people, you give them ideas, and then,
we encourage you to show up. We encourage you to show up because the reality is YouTube does want real people content. It does want you to get better and show up because that's also how they make money. And then it also helps you if you have a message, a service, something you want to offer. It's how can we benefit from using these tools? I'm not going to say that there's, they're definitely, these tools are not saviors, but they are useful if we use them the right way. And I like this comment from Erasan. I don't know how to say your
YouTube handles are challenged most of the time to speak. So,
but it is true. People have always been lazy and will continue to take the easy way out. And that is a trend we do see that is, unfortunately, I agree, going to be a little bit of an issue. Because we will see this, that if you follow the whole, not related but kind of related, of digital ID, it's amazing how many people will jump on it for the convenience. Because we already have this situation in our home province where they're rolling out a 3-in-1 ID and everyone thinks it's a great idea for convenience. And I'm sitting here going, we don't want all this data combined into one database. That's not a good idea.
It's gonna get hacked to day one. It's a government system. It's gonna get hacked day one.
Exactly. So you know what? And then again, Perplexity offers sources where to grab info, but the humans have to verify that, and that is the truth, right? So it's this whole thing where AI and the people that are making the AI slop, where they literally have the AI clone, then the AI is generating the script, and then using the AI clone voice, and there's no human interaction. This is the problem, right? They're not verifying the information that the AI clone is reading. They're not verifying it's saying.
I think that's the biggest confirmation about that world. The biggest confirmation about that world and that content was that Hey Jen interview we were watching, where it was like, I didn't know my clone was saying words improperly until I had 200,000 subscribers. So you weren't doing any quality assurance on your YouTube, on your video content, until people were complaining that I know that you're upfront and saying that your AI clone is it's all automated. There's no quality control on there, but you don't check you're like, my number one rule of your YouTube video is to always watch your content, because we want to make sure that I don't want to make you look like an idiot. That's the last thing I want you to do. I want you to be confident on camera and be providing value to people and say, hey, when somebody asks you a question about your field, you're like, hey, here's my YouTube playlist. Here's some quick, easy videos. I can, you asked me a question. I've already made a video about this, setting up a website or dealing with WordPress or whatever. Here's the videos. Go watch them. And if you have any, go watch them and come back to me, because then you know what I do, the quality of my work, how many years I've been dealing with this, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's answers exactly. Being seen, like making your own channels. Exactly. Because I do believe, especially even if you don't have a service or a product per se to sell, you're selling yourself. And at some level, even if you're looking for a job in the future, if you're showing and sharing your skill, especially if it is something in a specific industry, that's going to help give you the authority. So whether you want to maybe eventually be self-employed in that industry or be hired, it can definitely help you in that. But then I know that some people who have had the reverse of being like the social media experts and then having success on their own social media, and then sometimes struggling to get a job in social media because the company doesn't like that they've been successful on their own. And then you wonder, do you want to work for a company that's like that? Probably not, but that's another side note on that. And then one of the last comments as we kind of finish up today, because I think we'll talk about what we were going to talk about next week. But with your YouTube accounts, the big thing, Anki, if you are interested, we would highly recommend that you go and reach out. You can reach out to us at IamYouTubeFamous.com, or go to the @YouTube IamYouTubeFamous, or whichever platform you're watching us on right now, whichever YouTube channel. You can message us directly, and we can assess and maybe help you out, because sometimes the easy things, some of the things can be really easy. It's like, when was the last time you did a video? Maybe that's part of it, right? Mike, what are some of
three channels. You mentioned you have three channels. Three channels is a lot of content to create. That's a lot. That's literally three different audiences that you're building at the same time. And it's a lot of work. It's not undoable, but I think at that point you need to have a production schedule for every single day of the week, and you're breaking down your tasks of what you do, what you work on this is what we designed for people in when they pay for visibility when they pay for our one-on-one training. It's like, what are we doing every single day of the week? Because you need to be in that mindset of, okay, I've got these channels, I've got these shows, right? Like, what are you actually focused on every single day of the week in order to get your content created? Because it's a bunch of work, especially if you're going to care about the metrics, the subscribers and the views and the watch time. Some YouTubers, that's what they're focused on, and others are just focused on content, and they're like, hey, I'm not going to worry about subscribers, views, or watch hours. I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff. I'm just going to be consistent with making content. And so it's a mindset thing, and 3 channels is a lot. I know some of our students have said, well, should I do this or this or this? Is like, get consistent with making the content.
Yes.
Because I don't want you to feel bad about having 3 channels you're not being consistent with. One channel.
Exactly. Pick one, make sure you're consistent with the one, right? And then go from there. And it's interesting because you bring up something where I started a second channel and I was like finding it really difficult because it was completely different content. And now I'm doing a second channel, but I'm specializing it on one specific content that I'm also putting on my main channel. So it's actually made it a little bit easier because of the way I've changed my perspective of it. So what we recommend, if you're struggling, reach out. We will happily do a little assessment and maybe give you a couple suggestions. And of course, you can join us every week here on I Am YouTube Famous on YouTube, or wherever you're following us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever we are. And oh, this wasn't the one I wanted. This image today. So why don't you go over, where is that? Did I not bring that image in? I thought I had.
You tell me you had this prepped.
I did have it prepped. Well, there's that image. I don't know where my other image went. It didn't show up. Good times being live and not perfect. So as we finish up, why don't you talk about the visibility engine and just explain a little bit about it?
Okay. It is super straightforward. The visibility engine is literally make some long form content, right? So just make the content. If you need to practice, you can practice. We're using the software we're using right now is Restream, which allows you to either live stream or record in studio and then distribute it later. So there's a bunch of different ways to make your content, but make long form content and then cut that into shorts.
What I really meant, Mike, was just summarizing up what we're promoting. That was actually what I was talking about.
Well, you just left it on the screen, so
that's the only screen I have because the other screen didn't come up. I have this one and I have this one, Mike, so we can talk about the end of our show.
Okay. Threw me off with that image. Okay.
That's why I said. That is why I actually said talk about our visibility engine and the promotion. That was what I was attempting to communicate.
Okay. Well, now you've got the show schedule up. So I'm just going to remind everybody about the show schedule because we're already at the hour.
That was why I brought up that, and I was looking for my screen that disappeared on me.
Okay. So, of course, this is the Saturday show. Visibility University, Ask Us Anything, where we invite you to watch and participate in the chat. Ask us your question. We had some good questions this morning about YouTube channels, right? Because that's what we get all the time. So what are you doing right now?
I'm loading. I found the promotional image that was missing.
So please join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern for Visibility University. Bring your questions because I love answering questions about YouTube and where people are getting stuck and people don't seem to have ideas on what type of content to make. And we're full of ideas because we've been making YouTube content for years and testing how many views we get, what watch time we get, what type of comments we get, and taking it all in stride to make better content going forward, because it's all about increasing your confidence with your content that you're putting out there, whether it's, talking head videos like this, or you interviewing somebody, or you showing your before and afters, your products or services. It's all about confidence. It's all about getting you to be confident on camera and building out that YouTube channel for people to discover you. Our Sunday show, we have this is the benefit of our visibility engine framework that we've built for you over the last couple of years. We show you how to make content, make shows, show up confident on camera. And as you can see, we've built ourselves a four times a week where we go live on YouTube. So we invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channels at Breathe Within Yoga and at I Am YouTube Famous. Please hit the bell for notifications. You'll get an email every time we go live with our 4 shows. Saturday is Visibility University, 9 a.m. Eastern. Sundays is the weekly energy forecast at 7:11 p.m. Eastern. Monday, we were talking about the Too Real show early. This is where we look at technology stories, and it's Too Real, 2 Truths and a Lie. So that show format, we're going to present you 3 technology stories, and we ask you to guess which one is the lie. And it's kind of got a fun of Am I the Asshole? So those are really good, creepy technology stories, and it's always a good guess to see what do you believe is actually possible with AI and technology these days? Because I know what's possible on my end, but it's awesome to see what the feedback is from the users. And Thursdays, with Honestly Though, is our news show where we're bringing you news stories that really aren't hitting mainstream media, and we're doing our interpretation of what's really going on behind the scenes with news that you don't hear about.
Okay, so those are all the shows. So make sure you subscribe and stay up to date. And then I will show this because I don't know why this
is the one you were looking for.
This is the one that I wanted you to talk about and just pretend it was there that wasn't there. But the visibility engine. So this is how we help you get seen. So you can join us at I Am YouTube Famous. So you just have to go to that website. You can join us. We have our free version, which is our gold membership. You get to join us live every week. You can ask us questions, and you actually get a few different perks. So check that out. All the links are in the description. You can go to breathewithinyoga.com to sign up for that as well. And and then that's how you get all the information. We have different tiers for whatever assistance you need. So on that, I think it's time to round it out. Unless Lucretia, did you have anything else for today before we head out?
I didn't have any other questions. Just I really appreciate the back end, like when I go live and stuff, that you guys are kind of like watching and giving me tips.
And I love, and this is why I brought you. I'm super happy you found us because I learn from your content. So maybe just introduce yourself and say what your channel is so we can maybe get you some subscribers, because I think I appreciate your lives. So
they're really good. They're really good. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself before we end up.
I'm trying. So my channel is called I Am So Capable, and it's basically everything that like I've been in this business 26 years as of last month, or 21, 20 might be 21. 21, not 26. I'm going to be 36, so it's 21. The channel's called I Am So Capable, and it's everything from like how to use different tools and platforms to like sorry, what questions I get for tech support. Because I do a lot of tech support and social media, and it could be just like building a website on the back end, and all of those things. And then I also have cerebral palsy and help people kind of navigate being a child with cerebral palsy to being an adult with cerebral palsy. And so I talk about like my life, my journey, those steps there too. And I do it all, and it's all under Socretia, but which was supposed to be social and Lucretia together, my name, but then it just evolved into something so much more. So yeah, that's
I think
it.
I think the YouTube handle is really catchy, so I like it.
And I
So
got it
just-
correct, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I like alternated between I'm like just I and then the M without the apostrophe, but then I am just, it sounds a little bit better. So
Yeah, and guess what? If you get famous, when you become famous, people are just gonna copy it anyway. Just like my handle's already been copied, and they're pushing out a ton of content, and I'm like, well, that's fine because I am live streaming 4 times a week to my channel, so beat that.
yeah,
You get somebody who copies you, and then they're putting out higher polished stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm teaching my students to be comfortable with live streaming and making content out of that. So it's always the fun thing of imitation is.
Just to round it out, if we go back to one of the comments from the beginning was about, is anything actually authentic and unique? And everyone copies from everyone else. And so you can take it as a little bit of an admiration that they're copying you, but you can always, the reality is nobody can ever duplicate you.
You know what?
So even if they copy you.
I was gonna bring this up because I think I don't know if I mentioned this on the Saturday call last week or if I mentioned it on the Wednesday private VIP call. I've got that friend who's got that. So whenever, I don't really consider him a competitor because he'll only deal with your YouTube channel once you're over like 25,000 subscribers, right? So I don't even feel we're like in competition because we're helping people get started to get to the 1,000 subs and to get there and to activate the to do all the cool stuff we do. But I told him months ago about making series, like make TV show style series, because there's so many eyeballs on YouTube, and there's so many eyeballs on YouTube every single day. People are looking for shorts, of course, but people are also looking for traditional like 20-30 minute TV shows, right? And then of course he took that idea and he's been pitching it to his customers with large accounts. It is crazy. So an account, I watched one yesterday, and it was like house hunting. They're looking at houses to flip in Texas. This guy's got like 20.
Show, right? And that was actually like, we saw that type of stuff on HGTV. You know what? You are now your own.
Guess what? Like 7 hours into its release, like 30,000 views. But it's also on a YouTube channel that has 23,000 subs. So it's like, okay,
they took your idea, right? So we're always sharing ideas.
Well, I was giving value. I was like, hey, I want you to like me, and I want you to understand that I got some good ideas. I just don't have an account with 20,000 subs that can test this idea.
You don't need to justify it. At this point, they just took your good idea because you have good ideas. So on that, like the reality is, take the ideas, be inspired by other people, and then add your own uniqueness. Don't be an AI clone. Let's go with that. Don't, use it. Add some value. I want to document our. Oh yes, that's a great idea, Lucretia. Like there's so many stories we always think about. Like we should make a story of this and this. But you got to find what you're passionate about, because really we could do a whole series on problems traveling and pulling your home across North America. But that's not really our passion, and unfortunately, we usually forget to take video when we've had all.
You know what? I'm okay being embarrassed about IT stuff I do wrong or YouTube stuff I do wrong. there's just the one level I haven't gotten over was like, hey, because somebody's gonna point out something that and I don't know. I'm just like I haven't got
It's more embarrassing to get stuck in someone's yard.
2 years into RV life. I've had terrible things happen, and I'm just like I'm not ready. I'll talk to you in person about it. I'm not at that point where I feel comfortable enough filming it all.
I was gonna document being like pregnant with cerebral palsy because like there's not a lot on there and there's so much like misconceptions and all these things. And like I just didn't film or even like take a lot of pictures because half the time it was just like getting through it, or I would think to take like the video and the picture after I was already doing it, and like being like the one taking the photo, or like it was really hard to do that all in like the moment. And like
Well,
are different.
it sometimes comes down to that you just need, when your kid is grown up, you'll have a videographer built in.
Yeah. They become the videographer.
Our other students is like, this is why like Jared the engraver is literally got his sister. He's hired his sister, and she's walking around filming everything while he's doing the thing.
I call Jesse my Instagram husband because like he knows when we go do like things. Now he like takes the videos and then I edit them after. But like during this whole like pregnancy thing, sometimes he was there, sometimes he wasn't, and so like.
But you got into the idea that the thought process that you need to document it, and it's just really it's like okay, when you're comfortable, you got to get It's just,
and in each person, it's going to be whatever's going to be most natural. You can't force it because then it will come off forced as well, right? Like,
well, and that's why the suggestion was. Well, I'm like, I've given people the suggestion. I have like the lady I was texting last night. I've given her the suggestion to just sit down one Sunday a month and just film a whole bunch of scripts. But of course, since I didn't offer that service to her. Maybe I should now. Since I didn't offer that service to her, that stuff was never created.
And so, right? And that comes back to what we were talking about getting the feedback and seeing what people really need, and then offering different packages for different people, right? Because not everyone is going to be at the same level, and that's the big thing with our visibility engine is we are working one-on-one with each of our individuals that are doing it to see where they need help. Right. And we're also
to see where they need help, and also to readjust that production cycle, because a lot of people want to do content every single week, and some are able to do it no problem. Some are able to do it no problem, and others I'm like it's gonna be like okay, we need to plan to do it. We need to make it. Is it gonna take you 2 weeks to make an hour of it? Like everybody works at a different schedule, and then until they get comfortable.
And we're changing it to offer different services for the different people that need the more specialized help, right? But on that, now we've gone over, but I totally appreciate everybody coming into the chat. Thank you, everybody, for commenting. It was great. There was a lot of good conversation going on. Again, thank you, Lucretia, for joining us. And make sure you do follow her. Again, I will highlight her YouTube, so you can go and follow her there. She's got lots of great information, and she's definitely going forward. I like your lives. They're great. And so again, you can join us and become part of our free gold membership. You can go sign up here. The link is will be in the description. We'll make sure we have that everywhere as well. And on that note, join us again next week, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And if you have any questions about being visible, any questions about technology, AI, we will discuss them because we're all about all of that.
And I was gonna say, share this with I know everybody's got friends who are curious about YouTube, or they've got dead accounts out there that need the reactivation, and they just need to talk to a support group who says, hey, this is sometimes it's time, sometimes it's tech, sometimes you're out of whatever the excuse is, it doesn't matter. That's in the past. Share this with your friends, because I know everybody out there has had the idea to start YouTube, or they got stuck, or they weren't sure. Or if you're so one of our students got 2 of his accounts banned, 2 brand new accounts banned right away, and they're like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, file the appeal, confirm you're human, and let's move on. But I know sometimes when you run into those red flags, or you get stopped, your momentum gets stopped, it's a good reason to quit. but you
Or
just
no,
need
it's not
some.
it's
You
actually
just
sorry,
need some
it's not a-
advice to move forward.
I was gonna say it's not actually a good reason to quit. It's a good reason to double down because you will want to quit, right? And
Oh, I
that's
know, but depending on your personality, sometimes you're an easy quitter.
don't be an easy quitter. Okay, on that, don't be an easy quitter. Join us
We'll
next
see you.
week
We'll see you next week. Next week, same
and
time, same place. Thank you.
enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you in July.